Welcome to a newest episode of Sports Talk Central. I'm your host, Adeep Mahmood, with my normal co-host, Hunter. And today we're going to be talking some college football, some NFL, but then also we're going to be, and also it is the winter meetings right now. So obviously at any point in time while we record, hopefully a move could happen. With our luck, a move will probably happen after we finish recording.
Yeah, probably not. But where do you want to start? We can start.
Yeah, let's start with NFL. Obviously, Ravens Steelers played last week. I thought it was a really fun game. And look, let's get the big things out. I'm sure there were some penalties that they missed on the Steelers, on the Ravens. I'm sure Steelers fans probably would want certain things back. To be called differently, and I'll give you that. I don't like complaining about the refs, but you did have the penalty from Travis Jones that I don't know if that was unnecessary roughness. Then you had the Isaiah Likely thing where it's like he had 2 feet on the ground. It looked like he had 3 feet on the ground, and either he didn't make a football move after 3 steps, or I read in that apparently there's a rule saying that if you extend out your arms, that counts as a football move. So I don't quite get that one. Then obviously the NFL officials did come out, did tell John Harbaugh they botched the call on the Travis Jones one, which annoyed me because now you're talking about a 23-22 game with 1 minute left instead of 27-22. But what were your thoughts on the game? Rest of the
classic Steelers Ravens. I mean, did you expect anything different when these two teams meet? It feels like it always comes down to the wire with these two teams. I agree with you. I thought the unnecessary roughness on the field goal attempt, that was kind of a soft call. And I did see the report that John Harbaugh said like they got it wrong, which I agreed with. The Isaiah Likely thing, apparently you do need that third process of the catch, which apparently he didn't have. At least that's what Gene's territory and some of the other NFL.
But then I think I also read somewhere that you needed, like, after the 2 steps, there's like 2 different ways you could get that third. It's either a football move or a third step. So I'm still a little confused by that. It's just like, are we really talking about what constitutes a catch? Like, it's straightforward. 2 feet, and if you hold on to the ball, great. If you fall to the ground, do you control it? And I think that's kind of how I look at it. It's like, it's just like it should be simple. Like, control of the ball should only be when you fall to the ground, because I understand if you fall to the ground and the ball drops, that's not. I can understand that being a catch, but Isaiah Likely literally held the ball out like this. The ball clearly wasn't falling down. Again, great play by the defender. Let's not. I don't know if it was the safety Beckel it was either Queen or Beckel. No, or Porter.
It was Joey Porter that broke.
Yeah, that's a good play by Joey Porter. Lost in all of this. Joey Porter, great play. But yeah, I will say just one note. I know the Steelers had this issue with Aaron Rodgers wasn't throwing the ball 20 plus yards most of the time this year. I thought they did a really nice job of the first play in the first half and the first play in the second half, deep balls to DK Metcalf. I thought that was a really smart move by them, but yeah, go ahead, continue.
Right. No, I loved that how the offense played for about 3 quarters. I thought the fourth quarter they kind of just laxed off a little bit, especially in the second half of the fourth quarter, where I thought Arthur Smith.
We didn't have Darnell Washington.
He had a concussion, so
yeah.
he wasn't able to come back in. The running game struggled without him, which is not unexpected, but I thought Rodgers had his best game in probably 4 or 5 weeks. I thought this was the most comfortable he looked in the pocket. He was dodging defenders. He was moving very well. I mean, had a rushing touchdown for the first time in over 3 years. Brought back the discount double check. I felt like I was back in middle school for that. That was awesome. But I thought he was seeing the field really well. Just a really strong performance from him. I thought, it was great. They finally realized that they had DK Metcalf because he had been quiet for the last several weeks. He goes over well over 100 yards in this one. I loved that they were giving him the ball as much as they could. I mean, you should be. He's your top wide receiver. Thought they did a great job with that. Other than DK, they didn't really spread out the ball too much. Kenneth Gainwell had a little bit. Jalen Warren obviously had a touchdown pass. Defensively, I thought the Steelers did a good job of but not breaking, even though there are still some issues. They gave up over 200 rushing yards again, which is not very good. I know 55 of them were on that very long Keaton Mitchell play. So if you take that out, it's a little bit closer to 150, but still too many for my liking. I thought they were doing an all right job of containing Derrick Henry. He wasn't breaking a lot of long run. Still, Lamar, I felt like there were a couple times where the spy broke off and then he had an easy run lane. You saw a few of those plays.
Queen.
I still felt
plays. I know Queen.
Right, yeah.
One of those plays. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I still felt Lamar didn't look as comfortable as he should be. It's obvious that he's playing hurt to me. Like I don't think he's not 100%. Like on the final play of the game, for example, usually I feel like he can get away from Alex Highsmith there. Wasn't even close. And I know Highsmith's going at him full speed, but I know how fast Lamar is as well.
It was also like 16 seconds left at that point, or 10 seconds left. So
I also felt the Ravens were going way too slow on that drive. I don't really know why they were taking their time there. I know they only had one timeout, but still felt like they were going way too slow on that final drive.
Yeah, no, I think, the challenge is the problem with the Ravens right now is the guard play. It's really the guard play. Voorhees and Falele. Falele's free agent. I don't think they're going to keep him around. Voorhees, he showed promise because you got to remember he was the guy that in the combine. I think he had like a leg injury, and he still did an insane thing on the bench press. And they drafted him in the 7th round, and he had 2nd round talent. I think the problem with the Ravens, and I think the issue is the guard play is bad. I don't know how they. I know they got Emory Jones. I don't know how they fix it. Lamar, I think, looked healthier. I think that there were certain plays that you definitely saw a burst on that one. Look, I mean, you go back to the Bengals game, they had a lot of bad turnovers. I thought they did a good job of limiting the turnovers. And now, TJ Watt, I mean, obviously the fear is TJ Watt was going to sack Lamar a couple times or 3 or 4 times like Myles Garrett a few weeks ago, but I don't think I saw TJ Watt sack Lamar or Highsmith sack.
Highsmith got him once.
At the end, yeah.
TJ had some good pressures on him.
Yeah,
Lamar was
able on Derrick Henry, like especially early in the game, he was able to because I think Lamar was still trying to get ready. He was like the Steelers were able to just have TJ just go straight at Derrick Henry. I mean, yeah, the Steelers' run defense is not great. It's not good. And obviously you got to worry about the injury to your left tackle. I believe you had your 3rd string left tackle by the end of the game. So we'll see what happens there. I mean, nothing else really from the Ravens. Again, obviously there were certain things that were happening that would have changed the final drive. Lamar, that interception, I feel like if he just ran it towards the end zone or towards the sideline, or I think I believe if you see the replay, you might see it there was still that outside part that I don't think you saw Steelers defender there. So if Lamar just even throws it there, even if he doesn't catch it, throw it in a place where only the receiver can get it. I think there were certain avoidable mistakes that he did. So I don't have an issue with that. We'll see what happens. Obviously, the Steelers are in the driver's seat for the division, but then obviously, and I think we can now talk about the rest of the NFL. We'll see what happens with the Bengals next week. I don't know what 9-10 losses. I don't think that's going to get you to the postseason. Obviously, we had the big news. Old Man Rivers is trying out for the Colts. But have you seen? You saw Longest Yard, the remake, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Remember the part where Burt Reynolds he just puts on the helmet and
yes.
goes to the field? That's my fear if he makes it to. By the way, Philip Rivers, 10 kids now. He is a grandfather. So if he goes into a game, will that be the first grandpa? Will that be the first grandpa to ever play a game, like actual grandpa?
Desperate times call for desperate measures. And I figured the Colts, that hot start was just a mirage. I never felt like they were that good. And they gave up all that to get Sauce Gardner. And now you're seeing them kind of come back down to earth. It's not even a guarantee if they make the playoffs. Like, I feel awful for Daniel Jones. You could tell right away when he made that throw that he tore his Achilles. He slammed his helmet to the turf. I felt awful for him. Hope he comes back, really strong for next year. But, Colts are desperate. Remember they did the Jeff Saturday thing as well. So the Colts, they love this weird stuff. Feel like it's 2015 again, bringing Philip Rivers.
Why not bring Flacco? Flacco, I believe, is free agent. I think they Bengals cut him or something.
The Flacco's still on the Bengals.
Okay. All right. I may double check on that, but
no, Flacco is still on the Bengals. No, He's still the backup to Joe Burrow.
I know he got the conditional release from the. I know. Never mind. Yeah. Okay.
But no, it's just I saw that and it came out of nowhere. And also, the Bucs are signing Jason Pierre-Paul today. So again, it really feels like we're just in 2015 again with Jason Pierre-Paul and Philip Rivers trying to come back into the NFL. JPP hasn't played since 2023. Philip Rivers hasn't played in over 5 years. It's crazy. It really is.
Yep. Yeah, and I don't think there's anything else that stood out in this week.
I think I'll say this. I don't think the Chiefs are making the playoffs, man, which is stunning. I can't even believe we've gotten to this point.
Are 6-7. Both the Chiefs and Ravens are 6-7, and I'm not doing the stupid meme.
Oh yeah, we don't need to do that meme. There is a legit chance that Lamar Jackson and Patrick Mahomes are not in the playoffs. Can you imagine saying that back in August?
No.
Yeah, no. The Chiefs have made the playoffs forever now, and that's what it feels like. They're not going to win the AFC West. Even if they somehow do sneak in, they're going to have to go on the road. That's the thing. And that's also they have to win their final 4 games and get help to get in. It's a really big uphill climb for them. They have a couple easy games on there, but they still play Denver one more time, and they play the Chargers one more time. And by the way, they have lost to both of those teams. So,
yeah.
I don't know if they're going to get in, man. I know the AFC isn't really that good, but I don't think the Chiefs are going to get in.
Yeah, no, and obviously the Ravens have the same record. I think the benefit that the Ravens have is if the Steelers slip up just a tiny bit, the Ravens can get into it as a division winner. Look, I think what's going to help is that the Colts might fall. I think the Colts might, depending on who they have at quarterback, the Colts might fall. Now, so I think those are really the NFL news. Let's talk about Virginia Tech. So obviously the big thing is James Franklin is hired as the head coach. The recruiting class went from 124 and 247 to the 24th best class. I really like the amount of focus on the O-line and obviously I think Terry Wiggins and that was the best. I think that's the highlight of but I think the recruiting class was pretty good. What were your thoughts on just this first recruiting cycle?
The fact that Franklin did it all by himself and he got up a recruiting class, it was at one point he was at 22. I know it fell a couple more spots, but from 124 into the top 25, it goes to show how great of a recruiter he is. And I think it's only going to get better once he starts filling out his staff. More on that in a second. But he was able to, flip a bunch of some of the Penn State recruits, but he's also able to get recruits from other schools.
Oklahoma recruit as well.
I thought that was a great flip from Oklahoma. He decommitted from there. One of the top players in the state, T-Ron Richardson. I'm excited for him, man. Big boy on the defensive line. I've seen, at least on 247 Sports, a lot of people think he's underrated, but I like that they got him. I like that they got a lot of these offensive linemen as well. You can tell how much Franklin is really, really prioritizing the trenches, which is right, just because I feel like the last 2 staffs just didn't really do that good of a job with the trenches.
No.
That's where it has to start. You have to build bullies on your offensive and defensive lines that can take over games. If you're not winning in the trenches, you're just simply not going to win games. I like Messiah Mickens. I think he has the potential to be a starter for a couple of years. I don't think he's going to get a lot of playing time this year, but I think he has the potential to be a starter. Love the Wiggins coup. I thought that was really big. Davion Fat Rat Brown, I thought that was a really nice coup as well. So by the end of it, they got a good chunk of these top recruits in Virginia. They didn't get all of them, but they started the process of getting some of these guys to flip to Virginia Tech. And now going into 2027, you can maybe poach more of these top 10, maybe even a couple top 5 guys in the state. They were trying to poach one of the top 5 guys right on National Signing Day. So I really like the first class so far, and now it's all about filling out the rest of the staff. Sorry?
It was like, I know they went after some of the guys that ultimately committed to Michigan. Like
Yes.
there was a 4-star receiver that ended up committing to Michigan.
Yes, I believe that was Travis Johnson, if I recall correctly.
And then Matt Sieg unfortunately went to, I believe, Pitt. Then Matt Sieg, obviously, I think that was one that we thought was going to Virginia Tech.
Mm-hmm. Right.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think that was, and now it's gonna be interesting. Now we got the transfer portal. We had the guy from Elon. If you look at quarterbacks, there's the quarterback from Elon, Landon Clark. Obviously, you've got the Old Dominion quarterback. What's going to be really interesting is if they do bring in Ricky Ronnie as the OC, I could see that being the case. You're not getting the quarterback from Cal. I believe he is sticking with Cal. But also you got the Arizona State quarterback. He's going to enter the transfer portal. And obviously you got to look at the depth chart at Penn State. Which quarter do you like when it comes to transfers? Do you have a sense of which quarterback they'll target?
I'm not sure. There's still going to be more. I know there's potential that the Missouri quarterback, Bo Pribula, could enter the portal if he decides to. As of right now, I would throw some money at Colton Joseph. I thought he did an excellent job there at ODU this year, and I think he has what it takes to be a Power 4 quarterback. Really good runner, really accurate passer. I think he could really thrive in a good Power 4
years. In 2 years of eligibility.
Yes, I really like him quite a bit. There's going to be others that enter the portal. We have less than a month to go until the portal opens. But right now, Colton Joseph would be the guy that I would go after. But we still have to see who Franklin hires as the offensive coordinator and stuff.
Yeah, and then obviously we're going to talk. We do know one coordinator, the good old our friend Brent Pry. Which you know what? Look, I think we've said this on multiple episodes. We have nothing against Brent Pry as a person. It's just that he was not ready to be a head coach. You put him as a defensive coordinator, and obviously now we know that Tennessee let go of Banks. Yeah. Maybe there's a defense coordinator, co-defense coordinator situation. I think Ty Howell was a name that a lot of people are looking at for OC. Like I mentioned, Ricky Ronnie. It's going to be interesting. I know that James Franklin has a bunch of connections. But where do you think, what are your thoughts on potential OCs, offense coordinator, defense coordinators?
Yeah, I'm sure they probably hit up Ricky Ronnie, but he has a great thing going at ODU, so not sure he wants to go. I've seen some of the smoke on social media about John David Baker from East Carolina. I would be all over that. I mean, they had a really good offense this year. He comes from he's like a Lane Kiffin disciple, so really high-flying offense. I would be a big fan of that if they were able to get that done. We'll have to see. They have the money for this type of coordinator. I don't think Brent Pry is going to be getting a lot of money to be the defensive coordinator here, Dean. So you have
it's probably what they were paying before. It's just probably what they were paying. Something close or less than what they're paying him.
I can see it. And I know the optics are weird because he was just fired a few months ago, but we've seen him run really good defenses. Hell, in 2022, he ran the defense for that 3-win team, remember? That defense, I believe, finished just outside the top 50 in total defense, if my memory serves me right. So, he knows what it takes to run a good defense. And Franklin is going to recruit better players now that he's the head coach. And I'm not trying to disrespect Pry because he did recruit some good talent. But Franklin is a much better recruiter, let's be real here. So, I think he's going to recruit better players for the defense. And I think Pry, it's going to be a bit easier for him as the DC. He loves Virginia Tech. I'm sure he kind of has a chip on his shoulder, not so much as a head coach, but also because he wants to, do right for the university because he really likes this place. And he is a great dude. Like, he's 100% an awesome person. And, the more I think about it and the more and all that, the more I think I can kind of talk myself into it. So there's that. Offensive coordinator still has to be finalized. And then there's others on the staff to have to be finalized as well. That's really the next order of business here. Getting the staff in place and then doing the transfer portal, flipping the roster, also getting some of the players to stay, because I do think there are players on this roster that should stay. Marcellus Hawkins, one. Aiden Green, I think, should stay. Noah Chambers, I think, should stay. And those are just three, by the way.
Yeah, no, Overton, I think, definitely should stay.
Yes, Overton needs to stay as well.
Yeah. But yeah, I think that's going to be interesting here. Now, obviously, we do, just before we talk about MLB, before we talk about college football playoffs, let's talk about some of the head coaching vacancies. I mean, Lane Kiffin, I just got sick and tired of it. It's like, just pick a spot. Just pick a spot at this point. And then the whole thing of, if you're not on this plane, you don't have a spot on the team. And then, what were your thoughts on the Lane Kiffin saga?
That's Lane Kiffin, man. He's done that his whole career. Like, if you're surprised by that type of process for Lane Kiffin, you just don't follow college football enough. He's been doing this for a while, so nothing surprised me. LSU paid him a lot of money. They got the term. He's going to recruit well there. The question is, can he lead them back to the playoff? I mean, he did a great job at Ole Miss, so logic would say so, but, you're still in the SEC. You're recruiting against Alabama still. So, I feel bad for Ole Miss fans. Kiffin kind of snaked them a little bit, especially because this was such a great season, getting them to the playoff, and then you just dip right before the playoff starts. Like, I don't know. Something about that just doesn't really sit right with me. But that's kind of where college football is now. So you have that one. Alex Golesh to Auburn, I think, is going to be a good hire. He did a really nice job at South Florida for the last few years. Florida, John Sumrall, correct?
Yes.
Yes, I believe that is correct. Yes. Sumrall, he's done a great job at Tulane. Yeah. They had a dream season this year. They're getting into the college football playoff. I don't know if they're going to win the game, probably not in the first round. But again, I like that hire a lot for Florida. I think he can be someone that can really turn them around. We've already discussed James Franklin at Virginia Tech. Florida State didn't really want to, they can't afford to fire Mike Norvell, so nothing really doing there. Penn State, for as chaotic as that process was, they got the hire right at the end of the day. Matt Campbell is a damn good coach, and I think he will have that program doing really well really quickly. He did a great job at Iowa State, and I think he's going to do a really good job in Happy Valley.
And I think that's an 8-year deal that they gave him, and then Terry Smith will remain in some capacity for Matt Campbell. So that's going to really help keep some of the incoming players. I mean, Stanford bringing in the Commanders quarterback coach, nothing much there. Chesney going to UCLA. Yeah. I think that's a weird one because I believe he's a better recruiter on the East Coast than the West Coast. But, let's see what happens. Look, Cignetti turned Indiana to a powerhouse really quick. So, I mean, Bob Chesney's kind of on that same track. Let's see if he continues. Billy Napier is now at JMU.
I like that hire a lot. It's funny, Eddie, that's 3 for 3 now, I think. Napier did a great job in the group of 5 before Florida in the SEC. He was just out of his depth. I think he's going to do a good job at JMU.
Yeah. So I think that is that's just covering the coaching staff.
Most of the big ones, at least.
Yes. And then now we have the college football playoffs. Obviously, I feel like just in case people forget, it's Indiana at 1, Ohio State, Georgia, Texas Tech, Oregon, Ole Miss, A&M, Oklahoma, Alabama, Miami, Tulane, and James Madison in that order. It was a little weird seeing Notre Dame just say, you know what, it's either college football playoffs or nothing. And it's like I get it that they're frustrated. I think they should be mad at Duke. I mean, if we're gonna be honest, like it was Duke winning that game. Obviously, JMU or Power Group G5 schools made it, but look, hey, for everyone saying the ACC was going to have no representation, they got one.
Well, they got it right because Miami beat Notre Dame. Sooner or later, you have to count head to head. You can't just say, well, Notre Dame played really well right after their rough start. Okay? Beat Miami. Like, don't get me wrong, man. I'm a big Miami hater. I think they're very overrated almost every year. They can't win the ACC, but they were great down the stretch, and they beat Notre Dame head to head. You have to take that into consideration when you compare these teams. And that won out because they beat them. So if you're not going to count that, then I don't know what we're doing here as a committee. So I think they got that 100% right. Notre Dame, they can be mad all they want, man. Don't lose to Miami and also join a conference. Like, sorry, like I don't feel any sympathy for Notre Dame. Beat Miami, and then you would have been in, and Miami would have been out. They would have been the first team out, literally. So I don't feel any sympathy. I think the committee, for as much as they get made fun of, and I've made fun of them quite a bit, the only thing I have a problem with is Alabama. Do they deserve to be in? I think so. Do they deserve to be number 9? No, I don't think so. Because here's the thing.
They had -3 yards, like rushing yards against Georgia.
Yes, and they got blown out by Georgia. BYU was in a playoff spot going into this week. They needed to win to get in. They didn't. They got blown out by Texas Tech. But you punish BYU, dropping them out. They're the second team out. But you keep Alabama in their same spot. Just where's the consistency there? Like, I just really don't understand that. And Alabama has not been playing well as of late, by the way. They squeaked past Auburn. Like, they weren't playing well in that game. They lost to Oklahoma. They're going to get another shot at them, but this time it's going to be in Norman. The first game was in Tuscaloosa. They got blown out by Georgia. They lost well early in the season to a bad Florida State team. So, like, do I think they should be in? Yeah, but well towards the bottom of the rankings. You know, some people will say, like, well, number 9 is towards the bottom. Yeah, I know. I would put them even further down just because I don't think they should be number 9 after they got blown out. And you just didn't have the same consistency that you had for BYU. So I just want to know the logic with that. So that's really all I have. I think the top 4 seeds were great. Number 5, number 6, number 7, number 8. You did a great job. Miami got in. Tulane, JMU got in. That's the right call. I just would not have had Alabama at number 9. That's all I'm saying.
Yep. And we'll move on to MLB, and obviously we have the winter meetings. So we have not made any big moves yet. I'm checking my phone if something has happened. Nothing has happened yet. What it seems like is going on is Kyle Schwarber is going to be the guy that kind of sets off everything. From before we talk about the rest of the league, I mean, before I talk about the Orioles, do you see the Nationals being involved? I know that there's Mackenzie Gore and C.J. Abrams, but is there any like free agents like a Eugenio Suarez type that you could see them going after?
May seem like a hot take, you know. Taboni talked on MLB Network today about needing to get a bona fide first baseman. Kind of wonder if they get involved in the Pete Alonso market, but I'm also not sure if he really fits.
I don't know, like Murakami could be interesting for the Nationals, or Okamoto, the 2 Japanese.
I agree. I think those 2 are definitely options. I just kind of wonder if they're like a sneaky team in the Alonso sweepstakes. Just, I'm not sure if he still fits the timeline, but still something to monitor. I think they're in the pitching market as well. I don't think they're going to go for any of the high end guys, but maybe a mid-level starter, especially if you do trade Mackenzie Gore. You got to replace him somehow. So like a mid-level starter. Huh?
What about Chris Bassett?
I could see that. I could definitely. I mean, they have the money to pay him. I mean, the ownership has a bunch of money. It's just whether or not they want to actually spend a lot of it. So, you know, I could see that. I could see them going after some relief pitching. But the biggest question is going to be if they trade Gore and Abrams. I think Gore has a better chance of going.
I think it's one or the other.
I would lean towards Gore right now going, but I think teams will have to pay up for him. And Taboni has said that on numerous shows. Like, if you want one of these guys, you will have to pay up. So we'll see. They traded Jose Ferrer over the weekend.
That was a good return.
Yeah, I liked getting the catcher back. He's going to be the everyday starter. I'm guessing they're just going to release Keibert Ruiz, or unless they can't find a trade partner for him. But I'm excited. From everything I read up on him, I'm excited to see what he can do as the everyday catcher.
Yeah, so I'll talk about the Orioles. I think, and I know the Orioles have this reputation of not spending money. I think the Orioles are making a big move. I don't know what it is. I know they're in on the Schwarber market. I know that they are interested in Pete Alonso. They're in on Framber. Apparently, they're one of the two teams most likely to get Framber. One of the three most likely teams to get Framber. I know they're in on Ranger Suarez. I feel like they're going to make this a big move. And I was checking my phone in case they were making a big move. They haven't done it yet. So, and again, Michael Ice has talked about like increasing the payroll. He's been really aggressive. Like they've been talking about how ownership has been really aggressive. I mean, I'll give you a bold take. I wouldn't be shocked if the Orioles bring in a starter, like a Ranger Suarez, Framber Valdez type starter. And I wouldn't be surprised if they sign a Schwarber or Alonso as well. So one of Schwarber or Alonso and one of like a Framber or a Ranger Suarez. Like I wouldn't be shocked. Like, and I know it's the Orioles; they don't spend money, but it just something about the way Elias is talking and the way ownership is, especially maybe it's because the last ownership absolutely refused to spend money, and this ownership is willing to spend money. But I think Elias might go scorched earth and actually get these players to agree. And from what I understand, these players are taking notice of the Orioles. And I know Kyle Tucker, he visited the Blue Jays, apparently, and this might be because the Orioles spring training facility is close to where he lives. He visited the Orioles one. Does not mean much, but it is interesting. It is interesting. I mean, I'm on a Discord with someone who does have information from sources. I don't want to say what they're nothing certain, but I can tell you that he's been very accurate with what he's been given. He's kind of been very excited. He's been saying stuff like there's an 80% chance that they'll land either one of Alonso or Schwarber. The interesting thing is, what happens if the Orioles get both of them and a pitcher? That's nuts. I don't know how that will fit the roster, but again, it just goes to show, like, I can see the Orioles, like, they're going to make a big move. Now, like I said, Schwarber's going to be the one name to actually set the market. I feel like it's going to be either Ranger Suarez or Framber Valdez. I think those two are going to be the moves. And I will say this, I think the Orioles have been active. Grayson Rodriguez was hurt a ton. That's why they moved him, and there might have been something more to it. That's all I'm going to say about that. There is a reason why it's all been positive about Grayson from the Orioles' perspective, and that's all I'm going to leave it at that. That might not be true. Whatever. But Taylor Ward, 36 home runs, 103 RBIs. Good fit if you can add another big bat. Because let's say you bring in Schwarber and you bring in Taylor Ward and you have Gunnar, Schwarber, Taylor Ward as your middle lineup. That's really good. That's potentially good. And if you can get a healthy Tyler O'Neill, better. If you can get Alonso and Ward, great. Like I said, I do think you're going to pitching. Ryan Helsley is just 2 years removed from having 49 saves. If he can fix the pitch tipping, you've seen how good Ryan Helsley has been in his career. You put him in that ninth inning, that's great. They made a nice move bringing back Andrew Kittredge. That's your seventh inning arm. If you can bring a Finnegan to be your eighth inning arm, if you can bring a Tyler Rogers. But then also, so that's one thing for the Orioles. The other rumors, the Mets don't seem to be willing to go long-term for any of their guys. Seems like they want Alonso for 3. He wants 5. Diaz, they're far apart with Diaz on the years. What are your thoughts on these, like, what you're seeing from like the Mets and the Yankees and some of these bigger spending teams?
I mean, not surprised. It was funny. The Dodgers. I saw Dave Roberts today. He was like, "Yeah, I think we can just run this same roster back," which he is right. But I'm like, I know deep down you're just trying to paint it cool because we all know they're going to make at least one big signing this winter. I feel like they do it every year. I think the Yankees and the Mets are going to do something big as well, just because they fell short of expectations, especially the Mets. I know that the owner there is not going to be happy. He's now going to take this lightly, so I think he's going to do something big. I did see yesterday, Indeed, that the Pirates have offered Kyle Schwarber a pretty big contract, well over $100 million. I think it's just for them to say that they tried. There's no way he's going there. Yeah,
they offered. Here's my take on it on that one. I think the union is looking at certain teams for not spending money, and they're telling them you got to spend money. So the Pirates were prepared to offer Naylor 3 years, $80 million.
Yeah.
But you didn't offer it to him. You made an offer to Kyle Schwarber, and I will give the Pirates credit for making an offer. But I'm not going to give you too much credit for giving him 70 cents on the dollar.
We'll just see if they land any of these guys. I doubt it, just because of their history, and the owner is very cheap. You know, I have some Pirates fans that are just, buying the copium, but I would be stunned if Kyle Schwarber signed there. That's all I'll say. I'm sure the Phillies are also trying to bring him back as well. You know, him and Alonso, I feel like, are going to be like the two big dominoes to fall first. That's my opinion on it.
Yeah, no, it's going to be interesting. Yeah, and look, with Alonso, apparently, he's going to, because he lives in Florida, he can go to the meetings in person. He's going to have a meeting with at least the Orioles and the Red Sox tomorrow. Which, again, if you're a Mets fan, I don't know how you feel about it. But I mean, what would be your thoughts as a Nationals fan if Schwarber, 2/3 of Schwarber, Diaz, and Alonso left the NL East?
No, I mean, great. I don't need to see Kyle Schwarber anymore. I loved him on the Nats. Don't get me wrong. He was great on the Nats before he left, but love to see him and Alonso both leave the division, and Diaz too. I think I'm get as many of these guys out of here, just because Schwarber, he's killed the Nats, especially for as long as he's been in Philly. Alonso's done good against them too. So, yeah, those are my main thoughts.
And also, if they don't keep Alonso, you don't have. It's going to be interesting. The Mets then have to go after Schwarber. They have to go after Bellinger. They have to go after someone, because who do you have protecting Juan Soto?
Yeah,
Jeff McNeil, Brett Beatty. Again, it's going to be interesting. And look,
they still have Lindor, which is great. I mean, and Lindor's a fantastic player, but they will need another bat.
Yeah, and I mean, you also got to think about I actually do I know. I feel like Ryan O'Hearn is someone. If they miss out on Alonso, I know Ryan O'Hearn is someone that he could go to Philly. Not Philly. Pittsburgh. I kind of like him on the Mets. You put Ryan O'Hearn on the Mets. That's not. I know New York media is going to call that cheap. He's a solid player, but it's gonna be interesting and to see what they do there. We'll end the show on that note. We'll figure out a time this weekend, this Sunday. I got something planned for the day, so I unfortunately would not be able to record, but we can discuss over text the next time. But like I said, the odds are we'll stop recording, and within 20-30 minutes, some move will be made. But yes, if any move gets made, we'll cover it next time we talk.
Yes.